All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is our first virtual meetup for the Salesforce for Manufacturing user group. I know that this group has grown exponentially over the past couple of years. So I think we're at 385 folks that are now members, and then about another 150 some folks that have requested to join. So very exciting. We've been working closely with the Trailblazer community to try to figure out how to run one of these virtual groups. I know there's been some technology behind the scenes that's been evolving. So this is our first go at it. And we hope to get a pretty frequent cadence going as it relates to this, which we'll talk a little bit more here in a second. So my name is Andrew Rieser. I'm the group leader for this manufacturing group. My contact information can be found here, and also feel free to follow or connect with me out on social media. And for those that don't know what community groups are, like everything else, there is a trailhead for that. So I wanted to point folks, if you want to learn more about the Trailblazer community and what groups are, there's a module out there. But there are local meetups there in your region. So a lot of the major cities and regions have local meetups where people can come meet in person. And there are also industry specific user groups like this one for manufacturing. This one, however, is a global virtual user group. So really encourage folks from across the world to engage, post questions, and really try to make the most out of these groups and the forums that we offer. I'll also touch here a little bit on that. So our plan for this group for 2019 is obviously to continue to grow the community. So with the introduction of the manufacturing vertical last year within the Salesforce ecosystem and the industry specific focus that is going on, it's a great time to help educate everybody and learn as not only the products, but as this community grows. So our intent for this group is to continue to kind of aggregate the various materials that are out there, the insights, and work closely with Salesforce to make sure that everybody in this group is up to speed on where things are heading in this manufacturing vertical, and more importantly, to share the assets and connect folks with one another so that they can kind of share best practices and what's working, what's not working, and have a forum to collaborate and communicate with one another. We also want to empower you all as Trailblazers. So like I mentioned, this forum is a great opportunity to ask questions, to see how others in the ecosystem are solving problems that might be specific or unique to manufacturing, or maybe not, maybe just Salesforce in general. Ask questions about the different products, best practices, and most importantly, just engage in discussions and conversations. So there's no dumb questions. Feel free to post anything or seek guidance. And a lot of the folks in the community will be more than willing to help. Our plan for this virtual meetup format is going to be every other month. Our original goal was to have one per quarter. However, we've been getting an overwhelming amount of feedback about wanting to have them more frequently. So we're excited to try to start out every other month. And if we can get to a monthly cadence, we'll do that. But obviously it'll depend on the schedules and how we can get some of this stuff lined up. So our framework that we're looking to accomplish with this group is to kick things off with housekeeping items, introductions, kind of like what we're going through right now. And then dive deep into some presentations. So our goal as we start identifying future virtual meetups is to work with Salesforce to identify presentations from the industry teams, the product teams, the success teams, to talk with you all in this community group to see if there's any volunteers of any manufacturing companies that want to tell their story. So similar to the Trailblazer stories that you hear at Dreamforce and elsewhere, it won't be as fancy as that, but we want to definitely make it an opportunity for folks to share lessons learned and kind of share their roadmap of how they're successful with the Salesforce platform. We've also been starting to reach out to industry thought leaders. So identifying people that have deep knowledge and expertise in this manufacturing space, not necessarily specific to technologies or Salesforce, but just in general of where this sector and this industry is going. And then last but not least is working with App Exchange partners. So we've got a slew of about 5 to 10 folks that have already expressed interest in participating in future meetups. So look forward to kind of working with these App Exchange partners and identifying what that might look like from a presentation standpoint to share more about the products that exist on the platform as well. As always, if you have any suggestions or would like to participate in these future virtual meetups, please contact us. So this is a generic group email that gets notifies myself as well as a couple of the folks on the Salesforce team. So would love to get your feedback. And once we get a little bit more fancy with this, we'll also be putting together surveys at the end of these as well to share out with folks that have attended so that we can solicit feedback and continuously improve. So with that being said, we are fortunate today to have our presentations presented by Christina Galvin and Joe Mulrooney. So Christina is the Principal Portfolio Success Manager at Salesforce, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the success group and specifically kind of the assets and resources that they can be for the customers in this ecosystem. And then Joe's the industry go-to market manager at Salesforce in this industry space of manufacturing, and excited to get his presentation. I know some of you folks may have seen it at the local Circles of Success groups last year, but Joe's going to share a sneak peek into Manufacturing Cloud and give the Salesforce point of view of where the manufacturing industry is going. So welcome today, Christina and Joe. And if there aren't any questions, we will dive right into it and hand it off to you, Christina.
Great, thanks, Andrew. So as Andrew mentioned, my name is Christina Galvin, and I'm a success manager at Salesforce. I've been here for about 4.5 years now, working for the customer success group this whole time. So today we're just going to explain a little bit about the customer success group at Salesforce and how you can get engaged with us, as well as the resources that are available to you. Next slide, please. Thank you. So if you have ever attended a Salesforce presentation, webinar, attended Dreamforce, I'm sure you have seen this slide a million times. It is just our forward-looking statements and asking you to make your buying decisions based on what's currently available today. I think for what I'll be going over today, we're covered for the most part, but I always like to include this just to be safe. So in our customer success group, our number one goal is to make sure that our customers are successful. We are not successful unless you're successful. So our customer success group is really broken up into 4 pillars. The global customer success team, which I'm part of, our global support. So when you're running into technical issues, the group that you can engage with and submit your support cases to. As well as our global services team. So those are the folks that can handle professional services projects similar to implementation partners. And then the last group is our renewals team. So those are the folks that you work with when your contract is getting near the expiration date, and they're the ones who really work with you to get your contracts renewed, make sure that you're renewing the products that you need, and really ensuring that your future with Salesforce is successful with the products and services that will be beneficial to you. So just to focus a little bit on my role and how you can engage with the customer success group, everyone has access to a success manager. So depending on your organization, you may have a dedicated resource, so you may know who that person is. If you're not sure who your dedicated success manager is, or what success manager aligns to your account executive, you could always reach out to your account executive and he or she can engage us. And really, the purpose of our role is to make sure that our customers are getting the most out of their Salesforce investments. So what you currently have today, we don't sell anything. We don't try and sell you anything. We really want to make sure that you're seeing the value out of your investments. So a lot of what we do in our day-to-day is providing best practices, resources and guidance around key areas that maybe you're just getting started with. So maybe you're just getting started with Salesforce. Maybe you are just rolling out a new feature or function within your Salesforce org, or maybe you just purchased a new product and you're looking to get some help. Or maybe you're running into challenges and looking for ways to overcome those. We can help in that area too. Or you're just looking to get more out of what you currently have and how to better utilize the platform. So really, we want to make sure that you're seeing the value of your investments. And a lot of what we do is provide those best practices and align you to the right resources based on your needs. So I'm going to cover the success resources that are available to you. Some of these you may be familiar with. Some you may not be so familiar with. So we're going to go into those. So our resources and programs are really broken up into 3 key areas. The do-it-myself. So these are the always-on resources. So the self-service resources that you can access at any time. And I'm going to go into each of these in additional slides. But we have our Trailhead, our Success Community, and the Help and Training Portal. The second area is the adoption services. So accelerators that are available to our Premier Success customers, the interactive webinars, as well as some proactive engagement that we do. And then the third area is the do it with me. So the advisory services. So these are additional services that you can purchase. And I'm not really going to cover those today, but I did want to make sure everyone was aware of, we do have advisory services such as program architects, implementation architects, to really make sure that you're getting the expertise that you need as you're maybe optimizing your Salesforce org or going through that implementation. So next slide, please. Thank you. So the help and training portal is really your home base in how you can access the different resources. This is where you can submit your support cases. You can find out, whether or not you have our standard support or our premier support. You do have premier support. You can access your premier passcode. So the unique code that your organization gets when you call into our premier support line. You can access all of the documentation and knowledge articles. So if you're just looking to quickly find out how to create a new user or set up a workflow rule, you have access to all of our documentation right within the help and training portal. So hopefully everyone's familiar with Trailhead. Trailhead is our interactive learning platform. So this is where you can go and learn how to use the Salesforce platform. And Trailhead is broken up into trails. So trails where you can go in and you can follow specific modules based on what you're learning to accomplish. Or maybe you're just looking to find out how to create reports and dashboards. You could just go directly to a module that's focused on that. And what it does is it walks you through how to use that specific functionality. And at the end, you answer 3 to 5 questions just to ensure that you understood what you reviewed, to make sure that you are comprehending the information. And the fun thing about Trailhead is you earn badges and points as you're going through the trails. So if you're a competitive person or you just like having those badges displayed on your Trailhead profile, those can all be displayed. And the more points and badges you earn helps you become an honorary trailblazer. So if you've ever seen people at Salesforce events that have those trailblazer hoodies, those are those folks. So it's just a great way to learn how to utilize the Salesforce platform. So the next area that I'm going to talk about is how to drive adoption. So how you can engage with Salesforce experts, joining the community, as well as some groups that you might find helpful. So we already talked about success managers and how we can help you. So again, we can provide best practices. Our number one goal is to ensure that you and your users are adopting the platform. So if you are running into any adoption related issues, we can help with that. And a lot of us are focused on specific industries. So me as a success manager, I'm actually aligned to our manufacturing industry. So I solely work with manufacturing customers. So a lot of us are aligned to an industry. So it's helpful because we can come in and we can speak the manufacturing language. We can tell you what customers in a similar industry, in the same industry or a similar business are doing and how they're being successful with the platform. So we can really come with that expertise to ensure that you're getting the most out of Salesforce.
Hey, Christina, as new industry use cases for manufacturing are published, is that something that you all would be able to share links back into the community user group?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So another way to get engaged with us is through a number of different platforms. We have our Success Journey Hub, which really helps you get started with no matter what cloud you have. So whether or not you have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, etc. The Success Hub has resources based on where you are in your journey. So maybe you're just getting started, or you're looking to further adoption, or you're looking to optimize Salesforce. The Success Hub is really broken down into the different clouds, and then you can click on the tab for the cloud that you're looking to get more information on. And then it brings you to a page that is broken down into those different areas within your journey. And I believe Andrew will be posting the recording. Andrew, are you going to be posting the deck as well?
Yes, we can post both.
Okay, perfect. All of the resources that I have included in my slides are hyperlinked, so you'll be able to access all of these directly once the deck is posted. And then in addition to this deck, oh, sorry, can you jump back one slide just for 1 second? Thank you. And then in addition to the Success Hub journey, we have a calendar that has all of our customer success events, whether they're virtual or in person. So this is where you can find our virtual circles of success. And if you're not familiar with circles of success, these are interactive roundtable discussions that are facilitated by success specialists. And they're really meant to be interactive. So for you to interact with other customers, ask questions, hear how they're using Salesforce, and they're focused on adoption-related topics. This is also a calendar where you can find office hours that we host and just the various webinars. So it's a great way to find out what events may be coming up locally in your region, as well as the virtual events that we host. And then lastly, the Trailblazer Community, which I'm sure you're all familiar with since you most likely found out about this webinar through the manufacturing user group in the community. And I know Andrew touched on it a little bit earlier, so I won't spend too much time talking about that. So there are a number of different groups that I think you can find value from in the Trailblazer community. One of them being the Lightning Now group. If you're just getting started with Lightning, maybe you're looking to transition to the new UI, or maybe you're even on Lightning, but you're just looking to be in the know on new features and functionality that's being added. The Lightning Now group is a great group to join, just because that's going to keep you up to date on what's coming with Lightning. It's going to give you best practices in how to transition over to the new UI. So it's just a great group to join to stay up to date with what's going on with Lightning. Another group is the release readiness. So we have our 3 major releases per year. And if you're looking to find out about what's coming up in the new release, what the different milestones look like, so when the release preview may be available in your sandbox, when it's going to go live in your production org, this is a great group to join. So these are just some of the groups that we recommend taking a look at. And then one group that we always recommend getting started with is the customer success group. So, and it's called Success Cloud within the Trailblazer community. And this is really your one-stop shop for customer success resources. So this is going to give you access to webinars that we have, those virtual circles of success, best practices and content that we create. So now I'm going to jump into some of the resources that are available to our Premier Success customers. Not all customers have access to Premier Success. This is an additional add-on to what you can purchase with Salesforce. It's just a more enhanced support plan, but there are a lot of great resources and services that come with it. And some of our Premier customers aren't familiar with everything that comes with it. So I just wanted to cover some of these resources as well. So the first resource I wanted to cover are accelerators, and I think these are a huge value add to our Premier Success plan. And what these are one-on-one mini consulting engagements with our success specialists. And they're really designed to tackle specific business challenges and drive productivity and adoption within your organization. So we pair you with a subject matter expert, and the engagements are anywhere from 1 to, I would say, like 6 hours, spread over a series of phone calls. And we do a discovery session with you to understand what your needs and challenges are and understand your organization. That way we can really tailor our recommendations to your needs. And as of today, we have about 200 accelerators across all of our clouds. So these are just some examples of the more popular accelerators in our catalog, especially as you're just getting started with Lightning. There's a ton of Lightning related accelerators you could take advantage of, where we pair you with those Lightning experts to help you make that transition and get your org up and running in Lightning. We have some great report and dashboard accelerators for both sales and service. So these are just a great value add to the Premier Success plan. And one thing that I love about these is you have unlimited access to accelerators. So Premier customers can take advantage of as many accelerators as you'd like. The only caveat is you could only do one at a time. So if you do have Premier Success and this is something that you're interested in taking advantage of, and you take a look at the catalog and you see, there's 3 or 4 accelerators you're really interested in taking advantage of, engage your account executive, and he or she can loop a success manager in. We could work with you to help prioritize which accelerators you should take in which order based on your needs.
So Christina, we had a question pop in.
Yeah.
And, basically related to the costs around the accelerators. And my assumption is that I think you highlighted, as long as you're a Premier support customer, you have access to these. It's just working with your all's team to identify them and do one at a time. Is there anything beyond that you can share around that?
Yeah, so the accelerators are inclusive with the Premier Success. So if you have Premier Success, there's no additional cost to this. If you do not have Premier Success, but you're interested in it, you could always contact your account executive for pricing, and he or she can give you a quote in how much it would cost. Prior to these being a value add to Premier Success, customers did have to purchase accelerators. And on average, they were about $7,500 per engagement. So I think this is a huge win for our Premier Success customers, because you no longer have to purchase these a la carte. And there's really no limit. So definitely contact your account executive if you're interested in these and you don't have Premier Success, and he or she can give you an estimate and how much that would be to to add, but for existing Premier Success customers, there's no cost around these engagements since it's inclusive of your support plan.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So the last thing that I wanted to mention about the accelerators, and I really love this, is we've started running some of these accelerators live. So the accelerators that are in high demand, we have started breaking them up into a couple sessions. The first session is in a one-to-many format, and it's in a webinar format. So you get that foundational education around whatever the topic is, whether it's lightning configuration or the principles of governance. We will do that educational session virtually, and it is one-to-many, so it's in a webinar format. But then the second session, if you do have Premier support, you can opt in for a one-to-one follow-up with a specialist. So you get that one-on-one engagement where you can ask questions as a follow-up to that webinar, and they can really tailor recommendations to your organization. And the other thing that I love about the Accelerator Live program is customers who don't have Premier Success can actually attend the webinar format. So if you don't have Premier Success, you would still take advantage of the Accelerator Live program, and you can join these live webinars. So on the right-hand side of this slide, these are just some of the examples of the Accelerator Live. There are probably 2 or 3 times as more as what you're seeing on the screen right now. But definitely take a look at that and see if there's any that you're interested in partaking in, especially if you don't have Premier Success. There may be an Accelerator Live that you're interested in. And then the last area of Premier support that I wanted to cover that is also a great resource is our Admin Assist. And Admin Assist is available to our Premier Plus customers. And what it does is it gives you access to our team of certified Salesforce admins who can go in and complete around 100 different administrative type tasks for you. And this slide just shows some of the examples of what they can do. So they can go in and they can create new fields and set up page layouts for you. They can modify those page layouts for you. Maybe you need to import a CSV file of data to either get new data into your org or update records. Maybe you need help setting up processes or create reports and dashboards. So this is just a great way to offload some of those tasks. So any repetitive tasks or tactical things that maybe you just don't have the time to do and you really need to focus on more strategic things, this is where our Admin Assist team can come in and help. And then lastly, I just wanted to share some additional resources that you may find helpful. We already talked about the Trailblazer community. If you're not familiar with the trust.salesforce.com page, this is a great place to see the system status. So if you're experiencing any slowness and if you want to see if it's something on Salesforce's end, or maybe it's a network issue on your end, you can go to the Trust site and it will show you the system status. So if there is any degradation or performance issues, you can see that there. You can also see planned maintenance. So when we have the releases going live in your org, you can see when that's scheduled. So that's a great page that a lot of our customers aren't familiar with. There's also the developer forum. This is a great place to go if you don't really have developer experience or a developer in-house, or you aren't working with a consultant. This has a lot of technical resources, blogs, and playbooks that you can utilize. You can also post questions. So if you have a question that you're having trouble getting answered or figuring out the answer to, you can post your answer there and engage with the developer community. So it's very, very similar to the Trailblazer community, but this is really focused on developers. And then the App Exchange is a great resource to go to. If you're not familiar with the App Exchange, it is our marketplace to help extend functionality for your Salesforce platform. So there's a ton of free and paid apps out there. I always recommend taking a look at free apps first. And if you're ever unsure of, a good app that you're looking for one of your needs, reach out to your account executive, and he or she can engage a success manager, and we can make recommendations. And we always try recommending the free ones before having to go down that paid app route. And then lastly, the Power of Us Hub. This is a great resource for customers who are nonprofit organizations. So it's similar to the Trailblazer community, but it's focused on those .org customers. So that's all I had. Just as an explanation of how you can engage with the customer success group at Salesforce, as well as those resources that are available to you. So I'm happy to answer any questions, if any filtered through the chat.
There's one more follow-up question on the Premier support for those webinars, the on-demand webinars. The assumption is that you would also have to be a Premier support member to either participate in or get the recorded sessions of those webinars.
Yeah, so for the great thing about the Accelerator Live sessions is you do not have to be a Premier Success customer to get the recording. So when you go to register for one of those Accelerator Live options, on the page, there's usually a link to sign up for a future live session. And beneath that, there's usually a link to watch an on-demand recording. So you can always access the recording there too.
Great. Well, Christina, thank you very much for sharing with us more about the success group. And also, you had highlighted a little bit, but I believe that they're on the events page as you guys nail down the circles of success groups for manufacturing for this year. Those will also be posted there.
Yeah, they will.
Perfect.
And we actually do, we do have an in-person manufacturing circles of success event coming up on March 14th in Schaumburg, Illinois. So if anyone is in the Chicagoland area, we have that free event coming up, and I could actually share the details in the manufacturing user group if anyone's interested.
That would be great. All right. Well, I don't think we have any other questions. And for those that are on the line, if you have a question, just feel free to submit it via the chat to myself and or the speaker, and we'll try to address those. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass controls over to Joe.
All right. Can you see my screen there?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So welcome everybody, and thank you for taking some time out to listen. My name's Joe Mulrooney. I'm a manufacturing principal. Manufacturing is the second biggest vertical that Salesforce serves. So you guys are very important to us. I'm here to talk a little bit about Manufacturing Cloud. I guess the name may change, I'm told, but anyway, we are, Salesforce historically has been a horizontal solution, available across industries to anybody who sells things or services things. We're actually building it out now, building out vertical capabilities in a manufacturing cloud. So that's what I'm here to share a little bit about today. I'll show you the same slide that Christina showed. Please make buying decisions based on a currently available product. What I'm showing you is not going to be currently available. We're hoping for a Dreamforce 2019 release of some of these capabilities. So this is future-looking software. So safe harbor there. Here's I guess I would say here's the big trend that we've seen in manufacturing over the past years here, right? For a very long time, from a manufacturing perspective, we were very focused on, cost out capabilities, building out our ERP systems. We were focused on, the speeds and feeds, how good our products were. And our assumption was that, as long as we took cost out and the products did what they, did what we advertised them to do and did a little bit better than we advertised them to do, everything else would take care of itself. Then the world changed around us with this connectivity revolution that we're in the middle of right now. And the customers, customers have a lot more power, a lot more research is available to them right away. Right, the customers are, we've gone from this sort of product-centric view of our world to moving to more of a customer-centric view. So at Salesforce, what we've done is we're taking some of those capabilities and building out a manufacturing cloud, really to sort of build out for B2B, business to business, business to business to business, business to business to consumer type business models. Would be, I think, a fair way to say our focus is here. So the initial release that we're working on now is a sales agreement capability with intelligent sales forecasting built into it, customer portal and insights, right, so that these can be collaborative with our customers, and analytics on top of that. So I just, the definition of sales agreement here, I'm sure some of the folks on this call have this very scenario, right, where a quote is not typically a single point in time quote the way somebody quotes a car, the way an OEM would quote a car. Hey, do you want the car? Here's the car, here's what the car costs. Okay, that's what the quote is. A lot of times what we're doing in manufacturing is we're quoting over time. Hey, over the next 6 months, we think we're going to do about $250,000 worth of business with you. Here's the mix of products that we think we're going to be doing. Write up all the pricing for that, and it's a non-binding agreement, but here's our PO. And so as we buy from you, we'll reference this agreement. You'll have our PO. Our PO is funded to $250,000. We figure that'll cover us for the next 6 months, right? That's the kind of scenario that we're talking about here with the sales agreements. So, that's something that has I think been somewhat neglected, right? It's a very very common, particularly in manufacturing industry, a very common way to go to market, and it really hasn't been well supported. The ERPs have some gestures in the direction of this, but it's been tough, right? You've got a lot of people that you're doing business with. You've got a lot of agreements. Are we tracking those? How much revenue are we leaking? When we go to negotiate, renegotiate the agreement, do we have all the data, in our hands so that we can renegotiate these things properly? These have all been big issues. So that's the need for this sales agreement capability. I'll skip over this and let's go to. Let me just take you right into a demo here. I think will probably be easier than having me describe things to you. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm sorry here, my demo seems to be caught in a bad spot here. Let me try that again. All right. Well, I apologize. My demo seems to be acting up on me. I'm not looking at what I thought I'd be looking at. Let me describe what I can on the bits of the demo that I've got here. So what we're looking at here is a sales agreement. It's a header lines type arrangement, right? So here's my header. Here's the amount of time. It's designed for a quarterly. And here's the agreement terms. And what I've got here is the planned quantity for this particular SKU, right? This particular item that my customers signed up to purchase. we think it's going to be spread out over time, and it's quarter. There's a fourth quarter here. It's slipped off the screen here, so I'd have to slide over. But right, so 10,000, 2,500 per quarter. That's my planned quantity. That's what we've signed up for with the customer. Here's my forecasted quantity. So these are my you know, statisticians, my demand planners. In this case, in this example, they're agreeing actually with the what the customer said that they're going to buy, or maybe they don't agree, right? So that my demand planner actually thinks, you know what, they're saying 10,000, but I'm looking at, you know, whatever they look at, right? Seasonality and the consensus forecast, and here's what the sales guys are saying on their here, you know, here's what the current market terms are, et cetera. I don't think they're going to do, right? So my sales forecasting says we think it's more like 8,000, not 10,000 over this time. And then the actuals will be surfaced from the ERP, right? So the idea here is that the actual quantities would come in, you know, from SAP, from eBusiness Suite, from, you know, whatever your back-end ERP system is, so that you've got in one place, here's what they told me they were going to do. Here's what my demand planners thought they were going to do. And then as this agreement is activated and goes through its cycles in Q1, Q2, and Q3, here's what they actually did according to my ERP. So I've got everything in one place. I can see, you know, here's how I think this is going to go. Okay. So there's what I've got of a little demo for you on the sales agreements. We're building out as well a collaboration portal, and part of this is going to show that sales agreement so that your customer and you can also look at, you know, the same thing. Hey, here's what you did, you know, so that forecast management and planning will be there, right? And I guess this is a good way of thinking about that, right? It's to increase relationship accountability. Gee, here's what you told us you were going to do. Didn't quite get there. You know, what are we going to do about this? Well, you know, one thing that we're going to have to do, Mr. Customer, I'm sorry about this, but you know, your pricing really was based on you hitting some targets and you didn't hit them, and therefore blah blah blah, right? Pricing isn't going to be quite what you might hope it would be this next agreement that we're going into. Overall goal here, right? To help build trusted relationships, right? To keep accountability in place, working with your distributors, your original equipment manufacturers, the resellers, and having that all hooked up to the ERP. There will be MuleSoft patterns for ERP integrations. I believe we're building out an SAP pattern to start. So that's something that we're also planning on bringing to the table with this, with the manufacturing cloud. Future, going beyond the sales agreements and forecasting piece, we're also looking at, and these are a little further behind, but we're also looking at project selling. So, you know, sort of the engineer to order type scenario, if you've got that in your particular organization, right, where you know, the customer wants to buy something that's not a simple bucket of SKUs that we can just, you know, shrink wrapped up, put on a skid and ship out to them. Instead, they need something engineered. So let's capture that. And then price optimization as well, right? To give AI price recommendations. Project selling, engineer to order designs, guided sales agreement targets, audit controls, pricing containment on products, and integration with B2B commerce as well, right? So support for the reorder process, so that you know, if there's a particular engineered SKU that they need to repurchase, make that available. Price optimization, waterfall analysis, scenario planning, global price list origination, right, to manage the price list and set up rules for the product and service sales, And then negotiation guidance with artificial intelligence as well, right? So based on the account, the product, and the segment, where do we want the pricing to be here? And that's what I've got for today. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Joe. It's definitely exciting to see some of this progress. And do you have any insights into the timeline for those last two categories around the project selling and pricing optimization? I know that those are being prioritized now, but is that something that will quickly follow kind of after Dreamforce leading into early parts of next year?
I guess I don't know that. I think there's a lot of things still on the drawing board. So yeah, the sales agreements and the forecasting is for Dreamforce 2019, and then beyond that, it's really a bit of a we'll see how some of these things go. So.
Very good. Well, I think the good news is that a lot of these items that you're touching on, we see day in and day out with our manufacturing customers, and just feedback that we get from the community. So definitely exciting, and we love the industry focus. And I think these are solving a lot of the pain points that exist today currently. So it's great to see this on the roadmap.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's a very exciting time for us.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, we'll open up the floor for a few minutes here for some Q&A specific to Christina's presentation or Joe's presentation. And if not, we will stop the recording, and thank everybody for joining us, and we'll post this out and look forward to future meetups. Christian, you have a question?
I do, thank you. This question is for Joe. Joe, first of all, thanks for sharing out some of the manufacturing cloud stuff there. We've actually built out some custom functionality that now it'll be standard, looks really impressive. Is there any way we can work with our customer success managers to get a demo of manufacturing cloud so we can show it to more of our stakeholders in our organizations?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know how widely we're showing the demos, but let me take that back, and I'll feed back to Andrew, and then Andrew, you can feed back to the community. Is that a good way to take that?
Yes, perfect, because I'm sure everybody is anxious to start presenting this.
Yeah, okay, good.
Or at least getting it on everybody's radar.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's a great question, and I don't know the answer, so yeah, let me find out and share that back.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sure. I work for Herberger Corporation America. We have about 430 licenses worldwide for Salesforce, and I think the manufacturing cloud has not even been touched. Currently, I'm working on improving what we currently have for sales, and I've gotten my VP of engineering because he wants to learn more about the Service Cloud. But precisely, I get to work on some forecasting, and I think we're just scratching the surface as far as Salesforce goes. Is there a way to get some resources? Because unfortunately, the system administrator and the process owners are back in headquarters, which is back in Vienna, and we're not even using Lightning, and Lightning is not even being looked at. And I think it's a crying shame, but that's another story. So I think it would be very useful to arrange a demo from Joe to see what is it that you can really do with Salesforce. So especially, it'd be very interesting with Manufacturing Cloud, because we're a billion-dollar company. So and we just bought in several robots, and I think it's also interesting to know that the internet connectivity is both IoT, the Internet of Everything. I think that's also fascinating too.
Yeah, well, we'd love to engage with you. Let's see. I think so the Manufacturing Cloud is not available now. We're looking at a release, around Dreamforce. So I think that's November of this year before the software is available. It sounds to me like so, but I'd be happy to do a demo for folks there if that makes sense. Let's see. I think. To me, it sounded like some of your questions there might actually be better answered by someone on Christina's team, right? Like use of Lightning, use of greater utilization of the software and things. Sounds a little bit more like a success manager.
Yeah.
There.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been using it for Salesforce since 2005, and I've worked on some 17 different implementations, so I know what works and what doesn't work. But unfortunately here, they're very waterfall oriented, like very, very rigid. And right from the very bat, you know, everything is locked down tightly. And I know that might work with some SAP or some other software, but not with Salesforce, unfortunately. But that's another issue. So.
Yeah, I would definitely reach out to your account executive, and they can engage the success manager aligned to your account. And then they can have a conversation with you about how you're currently using Salesforce, just to get an understanding of what's currently being used, how it's being used, some of your processes. That way we can come in and make tailored recommendations and share how we think you could be better utilizing the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's our greatest need right now at this moment. But as I said, you know, the system administrator has everything locked down very tightly, and she won't even reveal the name of who the account executive is, which is really a shame, because I consider the account executive to be a very valuable resource. So.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording, and I appreciate everybody's attendance in this first virtual meetup. Hopefully we'll continue to grow the audience and keep this community successful and educating everybody and learning more about Salesforce for manufacturing. So with that being said, special thanks to Joe and Christina, and we will sign off, and these will be posted back into the community group.